Glad to have you here. Wanted to make a quick video regarding one add-on named Exorsus Raid Tools. Now, where can you get this add-on? It's super easy, super available. Whatever sort of client you use to load up your add-ons. The most popular one is CurseForge. Just search for Exorsus Raid Tools, download or install that bad boy. I personally use Azure. Looks like this. So I already have the add-on installed, as you can see here, Exorsus Raid Tools. I use a lot of add-ons actually. But I love add-ons. They make our lives easier. They streamline a lot of small things that we often take a lot of time doing. And this particular add-on has an incredible amount of functionality in it. It can do a wide variety of things, okay? Very wide variety of things. And one of the things that it can do is project notes out. You can send notes out to your raid team in real time, and you can change notes, based off of what you're doing, what you need. So I made a few example ones here, and I just wanted to, I'm actually just going to delete this and kind of go over some of the basic things. So first of all, what I would recommend is that you get your setup done, right? And this is basically you come into Exorsus Raid Tools, which you can see the R. It's right here. You just left click on it. Then you're going to come up to Note. Then you're going to click Enable Note. Now see how this basically pops this little section up here. I personally really don't like the opacity settings on this, so I probably would come in here and take the background alpha to be much less, as you can see. So again, notes, settings, it's all right here, very easy. But let's do this. So I want to basically start off by getting this in order. So this is my default groups basically, and I'm going to start just titling all of these. The first boss that we fight is Patchwork. Second boss that we fight is Grobulus. The next boss is Galuth. Then it's Thaddeus. And basically you could come through here, and for every boss in Nax, you can have a note, including default groups, which is awesome. So for example, we could set our default groups up first. And in Raven Guard, we use 2 warrior tanks. We use 1 warrior as our main tank, right? Then we use a druid as our off tank. Then we have 2 warriors as additional off tanks. This first warrior, and I want to show you guys, I have to type his name in manually right now, Garrett, right? But if I was in a raid with Garrett, it would be as simple as clicking his name. So I'm off tank number 4, right? So if, for example, I could just click my name here and boom, it pops my name right down in here. Beautiful. You want to see that one more time? Watch this. Boom. Gorgeous. So easy. So again, if Mash was in here, I could click his name, and then if Soul Train was in here, I could click his name. Now, basically, what we can do is we can set up an entire assignment and then push it out to our raiders. Because I know you've all been part of a raid where the raid leader is like, all right, it's right before a boss, and they're like, all right, so you're going to get Skull, you're going to get Cross, you're going to get Box, you're going to get X, you, and you're healing this person, you, and you're healing that person. And then after the 3 minutes of him, giving out those assignments with nothing to reference, there's going to be one player that's like, oh, what was I on? What am I doing? What am I doing? And then, that's just the guy that's brave enough to ask. What about all the guys that are like, oh shit, like I have no idea, and they're too embarrassed. So why not just solve all that, right? You could solve all that by having these default notes, because there's something to reference, right? So watch this. Default groups, move a clean copy and send. Bow. You're going to see right now that I basically just took my default group note, which lives here, right? and I moved it up to the actual note. Whatever is here is what is projecting here. Okay, so like if I updated this, so like Garrett is awesome, right? And I click send, bow, it's gonna pop up right there. If I take it back off, bow. Now I want you to notice something early on that I had to learn the hard way. So if I say Garrett is awesome, and I click send, notice how it is here and it is here, but on my original note, it will remain the same. So you can see here how I have not actually edited this default group note. So once you push a note and you are editing it under this note, it will only edit what you're doing here. So it's very useful to know that, like, that's why I like to, in advance, make sure that all my notes here are good to go, so that when I'm constantly pushing different notes, there's no issue, right? So this is very easy. Garrett, what do I want Garrett to tank? Garrett is going to tank skulls. What do I want Mash to tank? He can tank crosses, souls on boxes, Tanadors on squares. This, just in like the matter of 5 seconds, I now have my raid tank assignments. Now what about their healers? What if I want to make sure that each of these tanks has an equal amount of healers that is in charge of their lives, and there's not 6 healers healing one person and 0 healers healing one guy, and that guy just dies 9 times in a raid. So this is how you could do that, right? Let's say you want 1 priest, 1 paladin, and 1 druid on your main tank, and then on your off tank you also, and we'll space this out a little bit more, you also want 1 priest, 1 paladin, and 1 druid on this tank. Right now you're out of druids, but you still have paladins and you still have priests, right? So you could assign additional ones to them. And again, the nice thing is when you set this up, you can have names. So I basically am just using the class icon as a placeholder, so that when I'm in the raid, right before the raid starts and I have all my players here, I can basically just say, oh, okay, I needed to plop a druid in here. I'm going to backspace this druid, and I'm going to add in Cyclone here. I'm going to backspace this druid, and I'm going to add in Debo here, right? And again, look, I'm already doing it. These are copy and pasteable, which is nice. So you can basically copy this, and I'm already doing it where I'm not editing my original one. So see how this original one hasn't changed, but this one has. So if I want to make sure that this lasts for next week, which I do want it to, I need to make sure that I'm doing all my work in this default group. So that's good to know. So yeah, that's basically it for default groups and how to set up, solid assignments to make sure that everyone is aware what the plan is. And you can do this basically for every boss. So as things change, you can just make small notes. So on Patchwork, you can say, hey, Patchwork, we're not going to be in default groups, and we don't need Tanador's healers to heal him on Patchwork because he's not going to be taking any damage. So you could basically just have, hey, this is going to be our main tank, and it's going to be Garrett. We're going to have our off tank. It's going to be Mash. We're going to have our off tank 2, and it's going to be Soul. And then you can reassign the healers that you posted here and put them here. And you could even just, if you're super lazy, you could literally just copy and paste. So I could take the 2 names that were down here, and we'll just use an example right now. So let's just say that Debo and Cyclone are the ones that are healing me. I'd take both of them, and now that Tanador is not here anymore, I can just add them on to a different person. So again, this is like super functional, and it makes it so that everyone knows what's going on. And essentially what we could do is I could even just take this if I was really lazy, and I could just start the boss off with this, right? Because I know Garrett's going to be the main tank, right? And he has his healers. Then I know Mash is going to be off tank 1, and I know that Soul's going to be off tank 2. And then Tanador is not going to be tanking, so I can just delete him, and then I could just move these 2 healers up. I could distribute one of these druids to Soul. I could distribute one of these druids over to a different player. So just like this, basically. Boom. Anyways, you can set up every single boss like this and have it prepared in advance. And it's as simple as just having raiders make sure they have the add-on. They literally, all they have to do is download the add-on, left click this, and click enable. That's all they have to do. They don't have to do any of this setup. All of this setup is based off of someone who has assist. Anyone who has assist in the raid can push notes. So yeah, that's basically my pitch. You can take every single boss. So Patchwork is a good example of how you need to make sure that every healer knows what's up. And then when you move to a different boss like Robulus, from Patchwork, you have even less, right? So like in Trash, we need to make sure we have 4 tanks with an even amount of healers, 3 healers minimum per tank. And then, or 2 healers minimum per tank, then Trash healers. So you could even say, I used to call them floaters or just trash healers. And you could have a priest and paladin floating there. And yeah, I think that's important, you know, to make sure you're keeping up with assignments from trash to boss, back to trash, and basically just saying, hey, I'm pushing default groups back. All right, it's time for Patchwork. You know, this is an example of how it works. Time for Patchwork. These are the assignments for Patchwork. All right, now it's time for Grovulus. What are the assignments for Grovulus? And if I had it set up, it'd be as simple as pushing it, right? But I could set it up really quickly because on Grovulus, you only need one tank. And then you can just write in here, off tank 1, slime, off tank 2, slime. And, you know, off tank 3, you could go DPS, or you don't even need to mention that here. If I'm not on there, I would obviously he'll know, right? And you could just say, who's this person? It's going to be Mash. Who's this person? It's going to be Soul. And make sure that healers are distributed properly. And then boom, push it. All right, time for Grovulus. All right, now it's time for Gluth. Gluth is a fun one because there are some assignments that people need to know about. You know, you could have main tank Garrett, off tank chasing threat is going to be Mash, and then kiters, you know, you could say the left gate is this mage, right center gate is this mage, right gate is this mage, and piercing howl is myself. Boom. Like bam. How nice would that be while you're sitting at the pipe boss to come into this add-on and be like, all right, so we just finished Grovulus. Now it's time for Gluth. Obviously Garrett, and it's kind of like a prompt for the raid leader, honestly, because you're like, all right, Garrett, you're main tanking, Mash, you're off tanking, my kiters, mage so-and-so, you're on the left gate, mage so-and-so, you're on the middle gate, last mage, you're on the right gate, Tanador, you're howling, all right, let's go. Easy. You know, or you could even put in here, pre-pop GNPP. Boom. You know? And then move on to Thaddeus, you know? And Thaddeus, you could make sure there's something easy on here, like, all right, main tank, left side, you need 2 tanks, right? So you could say left is going to be Garrett plus Soul Train. Right side is going to be Mash plus Tanador. And then separate healers, you know? Separate your healers. Say, hey, these healers, or you could even do it by group or however you want to do it, you know? If you want to do it every priest, every paladin, whatever, evens, odds. But just letting them know, you know? Let's just say you want to have evens go right, odds go left. Whatever it is, put it in here, make it consistent, and then Obviously, you could even jot in here positives, go right, negatives, go left. And easy mode. Yeah, that's pretty much all that I wanted to show. Just keep in mind that this is like there's a lot of things you can do with this add-on. This is just one of them. And I'm probably going to make another video that talks all about this particular section, which is raid cooldowns, which is one that I utilized a lot, especially when I was calling out AoE taunts or calling out paladin hodges. There's a lot of functionality there. There's also a lot of functionality in the ready check when you're searching for buffs. There is a marks bar. There's lots of stuff in here. One of my favorites is the auto marks. This is really cool because if you enable it, like let's say I always want Tanador to be marked star, and I enable this, it will every time I'm in the raid, it's gonna auto mark me with a star. There's really cool shit like that you can do, you know. So the sky is pretty much the limit with this one. This one's really cool. Link loot to chat. Someone was asking me about that actually. There are boss statistics and stuff like that, or you can find out, hey, who pulled on the last pull. There's lots of stuff. Auto invite tools are basically like pretty much a must, and auto promote tools. So I'll go over those in a different video. But this one I wanted to dial in on the note section, okay? So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. You can always hit me up on Discord. I am always available there. If not, you can feel free to leave a comment, and I'll reply to that as quickly as I'm able to. But yeah, Exorsus Raid Tools is where it's at as far as communicating with your raid mates to increase the functionality, the understanding, and overall just the accountability, you know, making sure everyone knows everyone's on the same page. Literally, there's a page that everyone can look at, so everyone should be on it. So with that, I just want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch the video, and we'll see you next time.